if you're an undocumented with disabilities, you cannot work in a restaurant, you cannot do any labor work like any other undocumented, so it's very hard to get a job.
And it is projected that at least 1 million of the 12 million undocumented are incapacitated, many of whom have been hurt at work and can't claim any compensation. But what happens when there's a child involved?
Él tiene parálisis cerebral.
My son has brain paralysis, and his limitations are that he doesn't walk, he can't see because he has very weak sight, he can't move his right side, he needs to be fed and bathed, and he has many limitations.
Tiene muchas restricciones.
De hecho, su edad...
Actually, his mental age is like that of a 1.5-year-old or 2-year-old.
2 años.
Because of his condition, he requires lots of care and attention.
Él va a una escuela va nada más 3 horas.
He goes to school, but only for 3 hours, and he requires lots of care. He needs diaper changing, he needs to be bathed and fed, he needs to be moved around. He has many restrictions.
Tiene muchas restricciones.
De hecho, es un bebé.
Actually, he's a baby. He's a baby we need to take care of all day long.
And the situation aggravates due to the legal status.
Te cuesta ahorita...
It's always hard. But with the restrictions that we have, it's twice as hard. It's twice as hard because if you go somewhere asking for help, they tell you, you know what? If you're not a citizen, we cannot help you. And at the end of it all, we always need to get him something. Always.
Como todos los niños deben de tener los mismos derechos.
All children should have the same rights, and with his limitations, he requires special accommodations so that he can be more comfortable at home, and transportation and everything, but he can't get them because he's not a citizen.
Because of their undocumented status, they don't qualify for home attendant, so their son depends on them 100% of the time.
No, nosotros lo cuidamos.
We take care of him. The thing is that he doesn't have the right to get a person to take care of him, as part of a state program. So we have to take care of him 24 hours a day, every day.
A very complex situation that only adds to Oscar's fears of deportation.
Al final de cuentas, pues yo creo que nos tendríamos que...
Well, at the end, I think we will all have to leave. It would be impossible for them to stay behind. With an incomplete family, no. We will all leave, with much regret because we are here trying to look for something better for our son, for both of our children, of course. They don't know anything about documents or legislations. They don't know anything. On the contrary, they have a strong desire to get ahead. And without us, they will just go down, and us, without support from the U.S. government, are also going down.
Y si nosotros pues también van para abajo. Y nosotros sin apoyo del país también vamos para abajo. ¡Rápido!
Miguel, is there a changing spirit in the country? That phrase jumped out at me. You know what? If you're not a citizen, we can't help you. For years, there was an idea that kids were sort of a different category, and if they showed up somewhere needing help, you'd give it to them. But is there now more of a sentiment to say, look, if you're not supposed to be here, don't use public services, period?
That's exactly correct. I will say, even though maybe I'm not supposed to, but the Tancredo course still's there. Over 60% of the American people, they or either don't understand or they don't want to grab with this situation about how much is the suffering of a family just like the one that we just looked at. It's like they extricate themselves. In part, our brethren, my brethren, the evangelicals, the more conservatives, they have not been very helpful on this issue. That's why we need to continue advocating and bringing up this information, this type of programs, so to educate the American people, ourselves, to understand the seriousness of this matter, that immigration laws are broken. Many of these people, they didn't exactly cross the fence like the other shows like to bring on the TV media, just to give the impression of the transgression of the criminal aspect of crossing the border without documents. Many of these people, they just got themselves out of status because of the broken immigration system. And that's why, definitely, it's a moral imperative And I would like to go back to the issue of this Congress and this president. It's a moral imperative that they make the time and deal with this issue as soon as possible.